share a little video. And I think what's really interesting is you can already feel the passion in the room. And that's exactly what the craft beer product is and the community is about. It's that passion in every bottle. It's the story behind every bottle. And what we're trying to do from the point of a retailer is get that story and get that passion that we're feeling right now into the hands and mouths of more and more customers and kind of keep continuing the craft explosion across our footprint. But to do that, we have to help customers navigate through the many choices and educate on them. So what you see is you see some marketing materials back here that are called the Meijer Beer Frontier. So this is essentially the journey we're embracing to kind of help navigate our customers through the assortment and the large selection of Carrie's craft beer, exposing them to more and propelling the growth specifically of Michigan craft overall. So I think this video is a pretty nice summary of how we've been able to do that with our partners at Breweries.
Why a brewery? I mean, the easy answer to that is why not? This is the ideal culture in business. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
I'm definitely very passionate about beer. Beer to me is an art, it's a science, taking these flavors and knowing your raw materials and what you're going to get out of them.
We brew the beer because we want people to try it. We want to show, everybody our creativity through the beers that we make.
The fact that I can design a recipe and create it and taste it and experience what I thought it was going to be like is like so exciting.
Oftentimes in our industry, people want to put beers in categories. We brew beers for flavor. We brew beer for us.
It's very simple, the process of brewing beer, and it's also very scientific. Most importantly, the beer has to taste good, and so taking those steps and doing them correctly in every stage is very important to me.
I love brewing beer because it's constantly changing. There's always new hops, new malt, different techniques. There's new pieces of equipment that come out. There's local vineyards where we have a lot more Michigan ingredients.
As craft brewers, we're finding that people want to connect to knowing the producers that make the things that they buy. They want to connect understanding the ingredients and the harvest cycle and why certain things are a certain way.
Beer drinkers today, especially, they're constantly looking for what's new, whether it's at the bar or at Meijer. You walk up to that shelf, or you walk up to that draft system, and you want to know what's exciting. We have to be innovative, and we have to have really, really high-quality beers.
It used to be craft beer was only sold at the small independent stores. Meijer took an opportunity and said that the craft beer enthusiast is coming in here, and they've done a great job of engaging and listening to what consumers were demanding.
What's really kind of cool is to see every year the growth of craft, not just at Meijer, but in the general industry, but Meijer's always slightly ahead of the game.
What's been really important and impressive about what Meijer has done is long ago they stepped up and helped small producers find a way onto their shelves.
Meijer's given us an awesome opportunity to be in front of the hundreds of thousands of people that are going through their stores every week.
For Goose to be in the craft game, we have to have our beer in Meijer.
I think over time, you build these relationships and you really owe it to the customer to put out the quality product. So when you see people enjoying your beer, you know that you did your best to put that out there for them.
It makes me feel awesome that my beer is readily available to the masses and that they get to enjoy something that I take a lot of pride in.
To have customers calling us and saying, oh my God, I read about this beer work and I get it, that's why you do this.
Really all a brewer ever wants to do is be excited about what they do and have other people enjoy it. So just a ton of pride with the fact that we get to share what we love with the world.
So tonight in Grand Rapids, during Beer Week, our favorite week of the year, really this is just a fresh launch and a fresh look at craft beer and the Meijer marketing efforts behind it. And so what this is the start of more to come across our footprint, getting these stories and the bottles into the hands of more consumers. I'm going to turn it over now to Shannon Long, who's going to moderate hopefully a really engaging and lively and telling discussion among our Brew Liberty panel. And I'm going to let her introduce each of them.
Awesome. So thank you, Renee, and thank you for the continued support of Michigan Craft Beer and Pure Brews America. As Renee said, I am Shannon Long. I'm the owner of an export company called Brew Export that I started to help craft breweries get their beer all over the world, and I also am the co-host of Pure Brews America. So easily I have some of the best jobs in the world. So Pure Brews America is a TV show. We're in our second season now, and we're proud to be partnered with Meijer again. Season 1 can be found on purebrewsamerica.com as well as YouTube. And season 2 is, we're ramping up for season 2. We're going to be doing 16 breweries this year, taking you behind the scenes and kind of telling the fascinating stories of the beers, the characters, and bringing the consumers behind the scenes with these amazing breweries. You can look for these 8 episodes, 4 in July 2016, another 4 in October 2016 on the CBS affiliate channels. So now, this is certainly not about me though. I have the absolute pleasure of sitting next to, I don't know how many is up here, but some of the most amazing craft beer geniuses in the state of Michigan. We're going to start, where do we want to start? So we've got Joe Short down on this end. He is the founder of Short's Brewing Company up in Bel Air, Michigan. And now we have Fred Beltman. He is the largely known as the beer evangelist, as well as a partner at New Holland with 2 locations in Holland, Michigan, as well as a soon-to-be opening location in Grand Rapids. Next we have Tim Surprise. He is the founder of Arcadia Ales in Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, and soon-to-be Lansing. Next we have Mark Reed. Next we have Mark Reed. He is the owner of Atwater Brewery and a fellow Michigan State graduate. Go Reed. Atwater has about to be 3 locations: Grosse Pointe, Detroit, and soon to be Grand Rapids, Michigan. Next we have Dave Envers. He is the founder of Founders here in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Next we have Jeremy Kosmicki. He's the award-winning brewmaster at Founders. And last but certainly not least is Scott Graham, and he is the executive director of the Michigan Brewers Guild. So let's get started with this crazy group. So basically what we're going to focus on with these rock stars, this panel, is a discussion kind of, as Renee was saying, surrounding the relationships and the growth here in Michigan, and how Meijer has helped facilitate this growth, as well as where we see the craft beer industry going, and really the partnerships and along those lines. So I'm handling this panel, so we're gonna keep things a little bit wild, and I want to feel free to interrupt us, media, anyone with questions, clarifications, whatever you'd like throughout the panel. We're gonna keep it loose. So let's get this show on the road. First up, so what makes Michigan craft beer unique? Why is Michigan so popular kind of among the craft beer industry throughout the world?
Anybody?
You can start.
Well, I think we all get asked that question a lot, and I often go back to the Michigan Brewers Guild, the formation of the Brewers Guild in 97-ish, because in 1993, I believe, there were 3 breweries in the state of Michigan, and then by 97, we were up to in the 30s. Correct me if I've got any numbers off, Scott, and now we're up at 200. And I think in those early, the first years, the late 90s or mid to late 90s, when a lot of breweries started opening and scenes started to change, it was all a response to the law in 1993 that allowed for sale by the glass. The brew pub and microbrewery licenses were created. I think there was an opportunity, and there began a lot of tension. There was competitiveness, there was defensiveness, there was overall tension about what are these other guys doing over there, and we're going to do it better than them. And everybody had to write a business plan, right? Everybody's business plan was still fresh. And what do you do in a business plan but write who are your competitors and where you're going to get your business from? And sorry, my phone is. So you feel like somebody's coming after your business because they just identified you as an existing business and they have to get some. So it's real. And I feel like, without going down the whole long story, the formation of the guild and the reality of calling us together and getting us in the same room, and then our decision to work together on a festival and pounding fence stakes and running into all the problems that a first year 800-person festival runs into, we knew each other, we worked on a common goal together, we had each other's phone numbers. Now we're part of a team that's trying to make change. And I felt like that made a collaborative environment, and everybody laid down their arms and tried to work on making Michigan the greatest beer scene we'd ever seen. And I feel like that point in time made us all compete with our product and our creativity rather than trying to hurt anyone. That we all just tried to raise the bar. We started drinking each other's beer. We started traveling to each other's breweries. And it all became much more lively, much more fun, and I think the consumer sees that to this day. That you go around Michigan, there's lots of different signatures, there's lots of different beers, breweries get along, you see us in each other's breweries. That makes a scene happen, and that's what makes Michigan different, is that we got on that train earlier than other states.
I like to call that a brewmance.
Yeah, it's a lot of brewmance.
But it was, if you think back, that was really key. We had a moment of truth as an organization. A lot of guilds have come together to become political and or to promote their own products, and we wanted to promote each other. And we made a decision back in '97 not to be political and to not compete against each other. Now those two things in and of themselves seem a little bit disjointed when it comes to promoting a category, but it was really strategically very important for everybody that came together to make that commitment to A, not try to pit ourselves against each other, and B, to not get into the whole realm of politics, at least until we evolved as an organization. We did evolve, but that came much later. And I think I couldn't agree more with Fred that part of what makes Michigan special is that in addition to that, we did it in an environment that was somewhat very difficult from a statutory and legislative perspective. We didn't have a lot of the advantages the states of Washington, Colorado, Oregon, California, some of the hot spots where craft beer had been a little bit ahead of us. We didn't have some of those legislative or statutory advantages that those states have. So our camaraderie together really mattered.
Well, let's not neglect the fact that people from Michigan are really cool people, right? They like their culture. They're tough. We got all the seasons. We got beautiful lake shores and outdoor things to do, and with the music and everything just goes hand in hand with the craft beer culture, and they were definitely very accepting of it and enthusiastic. So.
And I would also say the human element of beer. I think beer brings people together, and like Fred and Tim said, the first couple of years we were all trying to figure this out, because the reality is we all wanted to open up. We wanted to be that early brewery. We wanted to be the next brewery that opens up. We wanted to be the next cool thing. And when we started meeting each other and realizing that we had this common goal and that we were all dealing with, basically young people starting this industry, and we all had the same challenges. None of us had enough money. None of us were paying ourselves. And the reality is we do this because we love to do it. And it wasn't necessarily a business. It was about brewing beer and doing what you love. And once we realized that we were all kind of in the same boat, we all had the same hurdles, we had challenges, and we were all dealing with business issues. That it made it very human to like, your competitor. We realized very, very quickly that we're all in the same boat, and if we work together, we can bring this thing to the next level.
Certainly done. Wonderful. Kind of the next question. So each of you obviously have a very strong relationship with Meijer. What I'm interested in is when you found out that your beer was going to be on Meijer store shelves, or how did it get to that point, and what were you feeling? Like nervous, really excited? Joe, I know you have a particularly kind of fun story with this one, if you'd like to share.
Yeah, about the original pitch to Meijer, or actually seeing our beer on the shelves. I hope people buy that and drink it fast. We don't have a quality program. But when we first had our preliminary pitch with Meijer, I've never really been a salesperson, so I've always been more of the guy brewing and telling people at the pub about the beer. So my partner Scott, he basically was just like, just tag along and tell these people about your beer. That's all I all I need you to do. And so we brought them growlers, and they were impressed with our story, and next thing you know, we've got this production facility up and going, and beer going out the door, and it was a sloppy hot mess. And but the cool thing is that it was a sloppy hot mess to us at first, because again, we were young, we didn't know what we were doing, we didn't have any money, but we had this passion and pride that was really into the product. And Meijer got behind that, and you know, I'd get calls from my relatives and my family going, "Oh my God, Joey's beer is on the shelf." You know, "I'm so proud of you, Joey." So of course, it's a huge
Joey.
I know. So it's great because that was such just a naive start, but to have a partner so willing, you know, to put their reputation on the line too, and get behind a brand, especially Michigan brand, and fortunately the guild being as strong as it was, helped that along the way, and it helped stabilize what we were all trying to do, which was create more growth, demand for our beer, the ability to hire more people, the ability to make our beer better, so on and so forth. So it was really a great kind of snowball catalyst beginning phase with Meijer, for sure.
Yeah, I think the two words that explained it for me were "holy crap," and I think that I kind of echo that comment. You know, being in Detroit in the East Side, it was definitely took a little bit more time to get from the west side of the state to the east side as far as an opportunity on the shelf. And I do remember the first time that I popped into the Meijer, and it really was, holy crap, there it is. What the hell's that doing there? So you know, those are the fun days. I look back at that now, and everybody at the brewery, you know, went to that Meijer and said, "Wow, look at our product on the shelf." And I think that you know, it's that human element. Again, that's what it is. It grows from there. You know, you take that, and that's that partnership. And I think that's you know where Meijer's going, and where you know the Michigan Brewers Guild's going, and us breweries are going. Is that we're going to continue to be stronger together, and that's how we're going to get to that 20% and plus you know threshold. I think it's 2020, not 2025, by the way. But I'm just going on a limb on that one right now. So anyway, it was just. It's a really great story because you fought to get your placements in the B and C stores and on premise, and then to see it in a chain was a really special time. All good.
I'll address what Rich brought up earlier. It's a more recent instead of the first story back 10, 12 years ago, whatever it was. I really think it's meaningful that Meijer's making a commitment on a regional basis, and you know. Obviously, we were quite thrilled to find out that we were going to be able to participate, elevating our status from a local to a regional status. But let me just say how important I think that is for all of us. Because I've spent the last 18 months traveling throughout the markets that we currently have distribution, and I can tell you that no market that's further away than 300 miles from this brewery is more important than this one right here. These breweries, in my opinion. That's our backyard. And yeah, it's big news when Shorts goes out of the state, but you guys have been here a long time. And mind that. And the Meijer commitment here in Michigan to take these breweries regionally is a big deal for us. Not just Arcadia, but all of us. Because the strength of our backyard, these neighboring states, that has real potential leverage for all of us. All of us participate in beer tourism in a big, huge way. And if you look at where these people come from, they're coming from states that border us. They come from places like Wisconsin and Kentucky and Illinois and Indiana and Ohio. And that just happens to be the Meijer footprint for now. Right? So for us to be on the shelves, to be supported by a company that has made its history in part by supporting local businesses, not just craft brewers, but local businesses, and bringing that on a regional basis, I think that's a real big deal. So yeah, we popped a few beers a few years ago when we found them outside the state of Michigan.
I think seeing your beers on the Meijer shelf in this honeymoon phase. It's kind of like my experience as a 21-year-old meeting Larry Bell for the first time. It's like, wow, here's the big guy. Here's the guy who knows beer. Well, here's the store who knows how to sell beer, and that's pretty powerful stuff.
I would say, Meijer took a risk, calculated risk a few years ago by dedicating more space towards craft beer. And I know, personally, like most of us, you go and look at that set, and that set, years ago was only 10, 12 feet. It wasn't that big. The whole craft beer set. Now the Michigan craft beer set is exploding, and there's some stores where you're looking at 60 feet of warm, 60 feet of cold, and when you walk in, just like Joe said, I was up in Traverse City, and there's a pallet of product, a Founder's product there, and my kids are running around it, and they're like, "Daddy, look, there you are!" And that's I still get goosebumps.
They didn't buy it, did they?
No. But it really is, and I think Meijer took a calculated risk, but they listen, and that's the one thing I think is really great about Meijer is they're really keyed into who their customers are, and they're listening to the entire category. And the entire craft beer category, didn't really start in the Midwest. It started on the West Coast, and then went East Coast, and then, like Fred said, when in '93, when some of the laws changed, there were a bunch of us. I mean, we're all home brewers, so we all jumped on board. And the fact that the entire industry has just matured, and we've got this engaging consumer base that they already know what they want, and they don't necessarily always want what they had yesterday. They want to try the newest and latest and greatest. And so that's what's fun. That's what keeps us constantly looking to the horizon and saying what's happening next week, what's happening next year, what's happening 5 years from now. So we get to continuously be experimental and have fun.
So kind of talking about, expanding experimental, and it is GR Beer Week here. A group of you are moving breweries to Grand Rapids. I mean, Jeremy, Dave, Mark, and Fred, you're all opening locations here in Beer City, USA. Why is that, and what makes Grand Rapids, Beer City, USA?
Well, I think for us, we've felt a part of the Grand Rapids community for a long time. We've had a few different ideas, and we always, we talked about coming to Grand Rapids 10 years ago, and one of the things that we always challenged ourselves with was that we'd go when the time was right, when we could do something remarkable that was different than what we were doing in other places, and something that really contributed to the market, contributed to the consumers there. And a couple of the other ideas just didn't end up having that. They just didn't end up being that idea, and this one did. And time is good, or time is right. And I think that Grand Rapids, over the years, a lot of us have, I think all of us have been around Grand Rapids when it wasn't so dynamic of a beer scene. And downtown was struggling just as a downtown, let alone for craft beer. And I think to see it change and to see the number of people that are excited about it, and are excited about living here, and are excited about the beer scene, it's really remarkable, and I think that it feeds on itself. There's enthusiasm everywhere. There's enthusiasm in the people that are just residents or consumers or makers. I mean, you think about the number of jobs that are here that are somehow connected to beer or to craft beer, and it's a significant part of the community. So I think all of us get excited by that. We've spent our careers trying to offer people better choices than what the 70s and 80s had to offer. We've poured out a lot of effort and passion to make people happy. And so now you have an even larger crowd of people with an even higher bar of quality and expectation, and it's thrilling to be called to that and say, all right, let's keep going, let's keep giving them great things. And I think there's no more vocal community right now that's a magnet to people that are passionate about the scene. And so it's thrilling to be a producer in that environment and challenge yourself and continue to up the game. We're all doing better stuff now than we did when we started. And in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, we're all going to be doing better stuff now, and it's not to dismiss any point in our history. It's that we're all challenged to do better all the time.
Yeah. For me, I just want to be closer to Dave. But
Aw.
Feeling it, bro. No, great comment from Fred's standpoint. From ours, it's a little bit different, being from Detroit. One of the things that I always wanted to do is I wanted to kind of connect the two largest cities of Michigan. We talk about Michigan beer, and I think that connecting the east to the west is really important, especially for us. So we've been looking for quite a while to kind of find that right situation. Like I said, we're only going to do it if it was that right opportunity, the right situation, the right location, and the right time. One of the things that we looked at with our first beer garden tap house, we converted a church, put a 5 hectoliter system up on the altar. Right. So
you're in West Michigan.
We're in West Michigan. It's all good. It's all good. My priest blessed the grounds and said it was all right. So as far as I know, be careful. Be careful. So, but it was all good. And one thing we wanted to do is we repurposed the facility. So that's what it was. It was a very positive situation. The church had closed down, and they got relocated to a new location. Very positive situation. 9 parishioners left. Great situation. So we're in that. I'm selling this, bro.
I feel safe now.
Tough crowd. So when we looked at Grand Rapids, we didn't look at a church, that's for sure. But what we wanted to do is to repurpose the facility. So we wanted to either find something that was something else prior that we needed to turn it into something new, and it had to have outdoor space. So we were able to find that in our location, and we're gonna come and do very similar to what we did in Grosse Pointe, which is right outside of Detroit, and connect the two largest cities in Michigan, and have a lot of fun.
Steve, I know you guys are adding another location here in Grand Rapids. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We moved into our 235 Granville location in 2007, and since then we've pretty much been constantly, going under new expansions. And now that the block is pretty much all production facility now, other than our tap room. So we're kind of running out of space, and we had another facility here in town that essentially was a warehouse. But our barrel aging program continues to grow and gain attention, and so what we realized is maybe if we bought another facility that we could take care of all of our warehousing, and then also maybe kind of focus on the barrel aging project. Anyway, so
I lost control.
I just think they're thirsty. Let it take brewers long to get off the rails.
So I guess in a nutshell, we wanted to take some of our barrel age program to another facility, but we want to keep it here close to town. We now distribute 39 states, and so a lot of people are looking at founders opening up a new facility, out on the West Coast. But the reality is we just started selling beer out there, and we got a long time before we can really figure out if we're gonna break ground on a new facility out west. So right now it makes a hell of a lot of sense to do it. In our
You're always
backyard.
welcome in Detroit. I mean, I'd love for you guys to be a little bit closer.
You never know.
All right, it's all right.
Maybe we'll join you.
All right, so before you